guys, how's it going? Hope you're all good. Being in your mid-20s is really hard. Everyone that I went to school with and went to uni with, who I was kind of on a par with up until quite recently, are suddenly splitting off into very different stages of life. In Group A, we have the people who are popping out babies, buying houses, and then there's kind of like another branch of us who I feel aren't quite there yet. Luckily, I think most of you guys are kind of very securely in Group B, with me wondering what the hell we're doing. But while being 25 is proving a challenge, I was thinking the other day, would I swap it for being 16 again? And it took me about 2 seconds to decide, absolutely not. So this is 16 thoughts for my 16-year-old self. 16-year-old Lucy, cut your fringe. I know you love it and you're very proud of it and you think it makes you edgy and cool, kind of elusive and mysterious, but that is literally just because no one can see half of your face. Teenagers these days are quite lucky in the fact that they don't really have this kind of awkward emo/scene phase, which made us all look horrendous, I would say is the word. And if it got any shorter than my eyelashes, I couldn't cope and had a bit of a breakdown. I think it was probably sort of a metaphor for hiding away from social interaction, really. But it wasn't a great look, especially because you tend to get quite sweaty at school. Live a life that's not so dependent on the internet. I know you're shy and I know you hate making new friends. Although having said that, after I thought about this point, I kind of realised that spending so much time on MySpace obviously like kicks off an obsession with the internet, which has now led to literally my entire career. So actually maybe spending a lot of time on MySpace was a good thing. It definitely perpetuated my shyness. So 16-year-old Lucy, try and maybe, you know, step out into the outside world every so often. But I mean, like I could say that to myself right now and it would still apply, so just stop correlating your self-confidence to how much attention you get online. I used to feel so awful about myself and have no confidence in the way that I looked. Even though this was nearly 10 years ago, kind of saying that now, it's weird how that is still very much a thing. People kind of correlate Instagram likes with self-worth and feeling good about themselves if they get a lot of, you know, YouTube subscribers or Twitter followers. And if you don't get a lot of likes on a selfie that you've posted or a new profile picture, it does make you feel bad about yourself. But I distinctly remember that if I put a new picture up on MySpace and it didn't go crazy and get loads of compliments, then I'd just feel so awful about myself and think, oh well, I must be ugly then, I must be disgusting. Whereas if I'd sort of stepped out into the outside world and stopped thinking that strangers' opinions mattered, I probably would have been a lot happier, I think. On a similar note, 16-year-old Lucy, don't let your self-worth be in direct relation to whether he likes you or not. Don't let boys decide whether you like yourself or not. Stop taking things out on mum. These mood swings, I know you don't actually realise you're having them, but they're very much a real thing. And projecting them onto mum probably isn't the fairest thing in the world. As mums go, she's pretty great, and give it a couple of years and she'll turn out to be your best mate. So maybe give her a bit of a break. Get your head around the fact that some people will like you and some people won't like you. In fact, some people will think you're the most annoying and weird and strange person in the world and won't want to be your friend. You don't have to please them, you don't have to change that. If that is the case, they're probably not the kind of person you want to be around anyway. It's not a reflection on you that you can't please everybody, and it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you that you're not. You have the most wonderful circle of friends who, it turns out, will still be your wonderful circle of friends in 10 years' time. So you really don't need to be worrying about anybody else. I know I've already mentioned the fringe, but 16-year-old Lucy, please chill out with the hair extensions. A bit like the fringe, I think they're just some kind of metaphorical barrier for keeping people as far away from you as possible. They literally came down to almost my bum and they shed a lot. And I used to have a little washing line that I pegged them up on in my bedroom when I wasn't wearing them. Oh my god, 16-year-old Lucy, appreciate your metabolism because it's the most wonderful thing and we don't have one anymore. Number 9, 16-year-old Lucy, that boy is bad news. I know you think he's the best thing that's ever landed on the planet, but actually, he's not great. Honestly, look at the state of him. I mean, Literally, look at the state of him. He's got a little bit of fur on the top of his lip, which is never a good look. He wears cargo pants, he can't really see through his fringe, and if you could fast forward a few years, you would see that he will literally amount to nothing. There are so many wonderful human beings in the world that you will come into contact with who will treat you better and appreciate you and care about you and not use your heart as a dish sponge, basically. Hold on to your innocence and your naivety. I know that you're worrying that you're not partying enough and that you don't really drink ever, and you're not necessarily getting invited to all the parties because you're so shy and quiet and no one really knows who you are at school, but that's okay. It's good that you're not quite like that yet. There's a lot of time for that. Pizza and DVDs and sleepovers, kind of stick to that for a while. Your body is beautiful, and it's a shame you don't realise it and you think it's the worst thing in the world and that you're awful. This is something that I so wish that I could go back and tell myself, because it's affected my life so much ever since. But actually, whether I was the size I was, or 10 sizes smaller, or 10 sizes bigger, it didn't matter. I don't actually think any of my friendships would have been different, depending on what size I was. And I don't think any of my relationships would have been particularly different, depending on any size I was. I just wish that you had a bit more self-belief and that you could see that you're actually really lovely and that you shouldn't need anyone else's approval to think that. You should allow yourself to think that and see it. And it's quite sad that you didn't. Oh God, 16-year-old Lucy, please stop wasting so much money on terrible clothes and makeup. Things with big Larry Hello Kitty prints and a lot of camo and an Adidas windbreaker I think I had at one point. Spent a lot of cash on a snapback once, just because I was so desperate to fit in. It kind of makes me want to cry a little bit, thinking about how much money I must have spent on truly terrible hair and makeup decisions. I mean, truly terrible. Those bloody extensions were 60 quid ago. These days I'm like, oh, can I afford this £3 top from Primark? I mean, I should probably save the money. 16-year-old Lucy, I know you're a perfectionist, but maths is never going to be your strong point. But that's okay. Don't let school make you feel bad about it. Everybody has an Achilles heel, and yours just so happens to be numbers. You're always going to do okay at it because you work hard and you're at a school that pushes you, but it turns out that you won't ever really need things like trigonometry and algebra in your job. Keep working hard at it and keep pushing yourself, but don't feel bad when you don't quite get the A star that's been drilled into you is the only acceptable grade. I also used to ring my best friend Hannah on the landline. No one uses them anymore, do they? Yeah, on the landline after school pretty much every day, and just be like, oh, I don't get it, can you just tell me the answers? So there's this thing, it exists on the internet, but it's not really a thing yet, but it's gonna be quite successful in a couple of years. It's called YouTube. It might benefit you. I mean, I don't know. Who could ever predict these things? There's two guys called Dan and Phil. Try and befriend them. Last but not least, 16-year-old Lucy. Just stop taking yourself so seriously. You've got great mates. You're doing pretty well at school. Literally the world is your oyster, and you're spending so much time worrying about yourself and what's going to happen. And if you could let that all go, even just the tiniest little bit, and just enjoy the time that you're in now, you'd be able to make so many more happy memories and feel so much better about yourself. And I wish I could actually tell you that. So that's that, 16 thoughts for my 16-year-old self. I'm quite looking forward to doing this as kind of a series, I think, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know if you enjoyed this one. If it goes down like a shit-filled balloon, then we might not do another one. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please give it a thumbs up. That would be excellent. Also, just wanted to say thanks so much for being so lovely in the comments on my last video. You are the most wonderful, lovely, supportive people. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!